Well, after 2 years and 2 months, the time has finally come to stop something old and start something new. I'm super nervous, but I'm also super excited. And just like they say, if you're going to learn to swim, jump in with the sharks. So let's just jump right in. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of an era. We will see you at home. And welcome to Saturday, aka pre-race day. I'm going to take you through my usual warm-up for a shorter run. This isn't going to be the warm-up that I do for a longer run. Usually for a longer run or a race, I would do a little bit longer warm-up just to make sure that my heart's pumping, ready to go, because usually during a longer run, I want to nail certain paces throughout the run. So I want to make sure that my entire body is warmed up and stuff, but for this run, this one's going to be a little bit of just a shakeout, 5 miles, nothing crazy, just to get ready to run tomorrow. I found that with me personally, I don't like following plans that have a day off before the race, because with the day off, my body just doesn't like that. It likes to be moving, and if I'm a little bit sore, or my legs are just a little bit tired the day before a race, I can flush out that lactic acid out of my muscles and get ready to go for the next day. So I'm going to take you through the warm-up, or at least show you the warm-up of what I do right now. Okay, so for these shorter runs, like I said, what I like to do is I like to get my muscles stretched out a little bit using dynamic stretches, get blood flowing through the muscles. But for longer runs, I will do probably a 15 to 30 minute warm-up, including 1 to 2 miles of light running, along with stretching afterward, to make sure everything's stretched out, ready to go for the performance aspect, but never static stretching before, because if you stretch out cold muscles, you could injure yourself, but never skip your warm-up. Let's go hit this run. I'll see you guys back after the run. All right, here it is. 5 miles completed. Let's go do our post-run cool down. I'll walk you through it. Let's talk recovery. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the spiky ball. So believe it or not, a lot of people overlook this, but you have to take care of your feet. And one good way of doing that is getting a hard spiky ball from like Walmart or Amazon or something, and just running your feet over it. Roll your feet over it for, I don't know, a minute or so, just on each side, to kind of break up the knots inside your feet. Get the blood flowing through your feet, because they're usually a place where blood doesn't flow too well. Just go through, hit any spots that feel kind of tight. One tip for this is to definitely do it with socks on if you have sensitive feet. Now the stretchy band is great for stretching out your hamstrings, and using it for stretching out your legs in a way that you would need otherwise someone else to help you. What you would do for this is really what I only use it for, is looping it around the back of my heel here, laying back and pulling on your leg until your hamstring starts to get a good stretch. And again, you don't want to do this before, you want to do this after you warmed up your legs. And you want to do this for probably like 2 to 3 sets of 30 seconds on each leg to make sure your hamstrings really start to open up. And you'll feel it back here, it'll start to feel like it's less tight. And finally is some type of roller. So this one I use to get smaller muscle areas and deeper rolls, like for the back of my calves, if I want to roll out the back of my calves, or the front of my shins. I know that when I do speed work, my shins start to feel a little bit more. And then the dreaded foam roller. This one has like pronounced bumps and stuff. I'll use this one if I really want to get at it, or we have another one that's just regular foam, and I use that one when I just want to get a general rollout. And so I use this for rolling out like the sides of my quads, my calves, my back a little bit, anything that's kind of tight that I want to get a general rollout on. And then I'll use something smaller like the spiky ball or like a lacrosse ball for pinpointing spots. And then finally, the massage gun, which you've seen me use to warm the muscles up before I do any of this, instead of actually doing like a full warm-up for a workout. Okay, so let's talk about pre-race day nutrition. So I'm going to run you through exactly what I'm going to be eating for the rest of the day and in the morning before the race. So as you can see in front of you, we have carbs, electrolytes, and carbs and protein. Today I'm probably going to have 1 or 2 more bananas. I've already had one this morning, but this is going to be my first meal. I'm going to be having my regular, which is 2 servings of oats with the BPN vegan protein, and then a scoop of peanut butter, just like I have every single morning. And then throughout today and tomorrow, I'm going to be sipping on this as well as water to get my electrolytes in check, kind of build those up, and then just make sure I have enough fluids in me so that I'm ready for the race. Now, one important thing that you need to remember is a lot of people say don't do anything new on race day. And a lot of that is mental, but a lot of that is actually a thing. If I were to go and try and do like 4 servings of oatmeal a couple of hours before the race, that would make me have a stomach bomb. And that's kind of what I did my first half marathon. I actually had 2 servings of oatmeal a couple of hours before the race, and about 4 miles in, I had a stomach bomb. And I didn't realize that I shouldn't have done that. I probably should have had like a bagel and a couple of pieces of toast or a couple of bananas or whatever, because I wasn't used to really eating that stuff before. And that's something you really have to try and do in your training to figure out what works for you, as well as like using Gatorade or what I use, G1M Sport by BPN. You just got to test all that stuff out, especially gear and shoes and just a bunch of that kind of stuff. So nothing new on race day. People make carbo loading out to be this like huge thing to where you need to go out and have like 3 burgers and a whole big old plate of fries. No, it just means simply increasing your carb intake a little bit from what you normally eat. So I'm not really sure what I normally eat in a day. Probably like 200 grams of carbs, I'd say. That could be completely not right. I'll put the number up here on the screen as to what I think I should be eating. But whatever that is, probably bump it up 50 to 100 grams, or maybe even just double it for the day. So in my case, I would be like eating like spaghetti instead of like rice and chicken. Eat spaghetti with more spaghetti to meat ratio. So if you look at that, it's really not that much. I mean, it's a full bowl of spaghetti. Maybe if I were eating regular, I'd have a little bit less. Now, with that said, I got to hurry up and cook this and eat it, take a shower, and then head on up to Cleveland where I have a couple shoot. Alright, so we finished up the couple photo shoot about an hour and a half ago. I stuck around, got some drone stuff, got some stuff for the vlog. The Cleveland skyline is just over that way. Looks pretty sweet. The stuff I was getting from the beach over there also just looked absolutely incredible. One last thing I forgot to mention where we were. We were at the Cleveland Cultural Gardens for the first part of the photo shoot and video shoot. And then we came over to Edgewater Park, a different part of Edgewater Park where we could have access to the beach. And actually the photographer left about 15 minutes earlier than she should have, because if she would have waited a little bit longer, she would have gotten awesome photos. So I'll ask a couple if I can share them with you guys, and if so, here they are now. If not, well, you have to go to my website to see. So real quick, I'm gonna run through exactly what I'm going to be using tomorrow for the race. You see on the left, heart rate monitor. The next thing is my 12-ounce water bottle, which I'll get into tomorrow morning. I have the Newton Fate 5s, which I'm going to be running in. I've done all of my training in them. And then my shorts from Amazon that I got for like 20 bucks. I'll probably be pairing that with some sort of tech shirt that I will be taking off probably at the start of the race or shortly thereafter. So I almost forgot one very important thing, my bib. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'll go ahead and put that on my left side front of my shorts, so right here, and I do that because I don't like wearing it on my shirt, but it has to be worn in the front. The final piece of equipment here I'll be using is my cousin Seth's GoPro Hero 8. That'll be what you'll be able to see my beautiful face on tomorrow during the race. I'm gonna hit the sack. It's go time.